yacht, chain swinging, clang clang, and it costs a lot. Bitch, I'm always at the guala, yeah, and you are not. Badass beat, keep on going till you hit the spot. Whoa, I'm a quick bag, girl with the blow. She got a big bag, never drop it low. Mama called me and she happy with the glow. Never ever fall for a honey, that's a no.
Just pop the Kenny about a million options. So just talking to stop doing agreement. I'm rock arenas, bringing the peace. I'm bumping that park in the car, pretending I got all the eyes on me. Got a bad baby and she's independent. Too many people loaded with me, they're seeking attention. When they want me about the goofies, man, I should've listened. And the smell of the money, my strangest addiction.
She tit for dick, I let her lit, I had to dip. I'm off a fifth, I'm all rich now. I bought a whip, I paint it drive itself. The fuck you think? Yeah, I'm rich now. Hey, little mama, yeah, you heard about me. I'ma pop you like a pea, yeah, at a mommy.
We're gonna talk about Iceman. Ready?
Iceman 2022.
Iceman is 30 miles point to point. We start here in Kalkaska, we finish here in Timber Ridge. It was a very, very busy lead into Iceman. Flew to Big Sugar for the final stop of the Grand Prix. Avery was not with me in Nepal, climbing Everest. Woo! Whole nother story. Finished up the Grand Prix, a little bit of stress, we'll have a video on that at some point. But then pretty much came back to Denver and immediately flew to Girona to take on this event with Envy and the service course called Rodeo. Came back, had a day, built a bike with Avery. Hey Siri, remind me to check every bolt when I get to Traverse City. And flew to Iceman the next day. I traveled a lot this year. I had shipped a bike ahead of me with bike flights because I didn't want to deal with it. Woke up Thursday and wanted to do a full pre-ride. Avery was still missing. He still was not with me. He chose his family this time. So drove the truck out to Kalkaska that Dan had left with me, left the car there, rode the entire course back with Willie. He had a blast. He gave me some tips and pointers in my ear, where to corner, what line to take.
Wait, what's special about this ride? Is it a wheelie bike?
Finished riding the full course, met Dan, went home and showered, and then drove back to pick up the truck that evening and do some trail work. Nimba and crew, Tom White, Dan Ellis, and Mike Walters were out fixing the sand that all 5,000 people can ride over the next day. Friday was as chaotic as it should be. I love Iceman for all the people, and Friday met Avery at Timber Ridge sometime midday, and Avery and I shot the new bike. Mason helped stay on Willie duty because Willie gets a little chaotic when there's so many people there. And so Avery and I spent, I would like to say 30 minutes, but it was probably more like 2 hours. filming the bike, taking some cool photos, and then after that I went and pre-rode a little bit more and then rode home. Went to the expo for the next 5 hours. It's the people. Willie has a lot of fans, and I am Willie's legs. Got home like 9 p.m. that night, 8:30, had some food, worked on the bike that night until like 11, and then got to bed as it rained and poured all night long. Woke up Saturday morning, texted my friends about tire choice, and then pretty much just settled in. Turned the phone on Do Not Disturb and focused on the race. Didn't have to think of much, warmed up, and it was all in to Timber Ridge.
Meanwhile, I was racing.
Yes, Avery raced that morning. That's why he was not with me. I can give him shit for Thursday, Friday, not for Saturday. The race is extremely fast. I call it a mountain bike sprint. This year we averaged about 19 miles an hour with some wet dirt. Started in Kalkaska, and it's pretty much flat on from there. The start's important. I kind of slot myself in top 5, top 7, and never look back. From there is the goal. And the first 20 kilometers, I think, just flew by, in my opinion. I just kept thinking of trying to follow my gut, figure out where I wanted to make a move, and where I wanted to take a risk, because that's kind of what Iceman's about, in my opinion. Interesting this year is, I had a lot of people come up to me and tell me, wow, you made that look easy, or you had such a big gap on second. It's funny because that's never how it feels when they're in the race, right? After 2021, getting caught on icebreaker with less than 30 seconds to go, I thought I had won in 2021, and it felt like a failure. I thought I had that race. And so to come back this year and be solo again, so close to the finish, I tried to not think of what had happened the year before and just remind myself that taking chances is the way that you win races, is the way that you get to experience things and have these highs. And they sometimes lead to lows. I think the biggest thing I've taken away over my career has been that you can't just take a chance. That's easy to do. Say, I want to go as hard as I can on this climb. You have to take a chance and then believe in yourself, not look back, focus on what you want to do, and in some way just hope and believe it works out. just kept thinking, get to the top, get to the top, get to the top. Everyone thinks 15 seconds is a long time, but when you're racing, it doesn't feel like it. I came across that line for the second time, and it was less emotional, but it was the same feeling that I had in 2019. It's pretty special.
Riding around this carousel, if you catch my drift. We're riding around this wagon wheel, she took me for a spin. We're riding around this carousel, getting dizzy till we're sick. Love is like a circle, there's no easy way to end. It's too much, I can't take it.
Hey, I know we can party today.
You know what we'll end up.
I'm so happy for you.
I don't know how that happened.
I do. You fucking are killing it.
My heart stopped beating and it sunk into my chest. Riding around this carousel, if you catch my drift. Riding around this wagon wheel, she took me for a spin. Riding around this carousel, getting dizzy.
Iceman's big not only for the people in the Midwest who train for it all year long, and that's their main focus. It's also big for everyone else because it has this allure that gravel has claimed but has been around for a long time. Iceman's been around 33 years, and the reason it's special is that people race, finish, grab a beer, and start trekking back out in the woods to cheer on someone else. There are more people interested in that race than many other races on the calendar, and it's because they get to take part in it and enjoy whatever the weather might be. That makes it the biggest party, race, fun event of the year. And you get goosebumps when you climb the final climb. It's funny because from 2021 to 2022 editions of Iceman, it feels like a short amount of time. But in that time, Avery and I have been on 40 flights, 20 different races, and over 13,000 miles of training to come back to the exact same moment and the same feeling a year later. It's pretty crazy. I think they've always focused on everyone, which is the beauty of Iceman. There's never been a focus on pros or anybody else. There's a great pro purse. You can win $6,000 for an hour and a half of racing. Not much of a better ROI in the sport. But at the same time, you can have someone who got on a bike last week and someone who's a pro both finish that course without much training. Because it can push you. If you want to go hard, it will remind you that it's hard to finish Iceman. And if you want to just walk up climbs and just finish the race, that's very possible to finish 30 miles in a somewhat normal amount of time. And I think that's special. That doesn't exist in most places. There's no altitude involved. There's no massive climbs. You can see the finish and push yourself to finish if you have the mental fortitude. The way I would convince someone to come to Iceman is that you will make a friend or a memory to last you a lifetime. And in the end, that's all we're out here to do. Iceman's more than a bike race. Come to Iceman, you won't regret it.